you happier now that you get to hang out with your friends and make $60,000 a month?
Surprising answer. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, like yes, a lot. I'm 100% serious, and we can.
I'm the saddest I've ever been.
No,
I cry every day. Every day I see $2,000 in my bank account extra. I tear up. A part of me dies inside.
Dude. No, okay, definitely. Okay, money will not cure who you are. If you are a depressed person, money is not going to cure you and make you into a happy, bubbly, cheery person. It's not. Money will simply amplify who you are. So if you have been a happy person, I was always optimistic. I was always a happy person. Always just looking at the good in life. I was always looking at the good. Money just amplifies that. So yes, it has made me happier. Will it make somebody that has personal issues or maybe mental issues happier? Maybe not. Maybe somebody that's clinically depressed, maybe it won't make you happier. But I think that if you come from, a history of just living, you're okay, you're content with life, then it will honestly make you happier. And not because you can go out and buy a Ferrari. Granted, I do like fast cars and I do want a GTR, which I'm getting like right when I get back home.
Yeah, you better get the GTR.
I'm getting the GTR. Yeah. But I know it's just a car. Like I already know it's just a car. I'm excited, but I know it's not going to be happiness. Happiness is like connection with loved ones. It's like something that you do to change other people's lives or the world. So what money actually has done for me is like I grew up with one parent, right? So she's never made more than $3,000 in a month. So I'm getting personal. My mom has been broke forever. Like her checks, like her bi-weekly checks are less than $700, right? Which is crazy. But being able to completely cover her, like whatever she needs, at this point in my life, I can give to her, right? If she cannot afford a payment, done. If she, cannot afford her rent or her, her mortgage, done. Like I can help her. And that has been by far like what has made me the happiest person ever. Being able to give back to people that don't really have. So that's kind of cliche too, but.
Yeah, no, a few things I want to add to that. I do believe that money really amplifies who you are as a person. And if you are a person, money is going to make you
Yep.
If you're a great person, money is going to make you an even greater person.
Right.
The thing that I've seen is that two things. One, the biggest problem is that a lot of people attribute their happiness and they tie their happiness to external factors like how much money they're making or how much success they're getting, and that becomes their identity. Their identity becomes, I am this person who makes, we'll call it, $60,000 a month or $100,000 a month, and I am this person who makes this happen. What happens when that doesn't happen? Are you not a happy person anymore? You're happy when that continues and continues growing, but when that doesn't, does your happiness fade? And that's the biggest problem that I see. And that I think we're all guilty of it. I'm certainly guilty of it. When you earn a certain amount, you tie your happiness to that. And when it doesn't happen, then all of a sudden you're not happy anymore. Mm-hmm. The other thing I've realized, and that maybe this is something where this is newer to you than something where if you've done this for like 3 years now,
okay,
you become accustomed to that money.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden $60,000 a month is normal, and that's your new baseline. Where all of a sudden you make $60,000 a month and it's not exciting anymore, and it's not anything anymore. It just becomes normal at that point. And what you have to do to any sort of like boost is you got to be like, okay, now I'm going to get $80,000 a month, and you do that and you feel great. Mm-hmm. But then after a while the same thing happens. That becomes your baseline. And then
the question is that necessarily a bad thing? Like if you, I know that there has to be a cap, right? But you can't, obviously chasing money your entire life is you're probably not going to be happy, right? If you just, all you want is to earn more until you die. Like you're probably not going to be a happy person.
Here's the thing. The problem comes when you tie your happiness to something you can't control. And generally how much money you make is something you can't control. And really, I think it's you tie your happiness to any sort of external thing that's outside of your control that you have. I mean, it's going to be what it is. Mm-hmm. And I think if you tie your happiness to anything else other than just being a state of mind where you're happy with just being you, that's, I think, where the problem comes.
Maybe.
And it's tying happiness and tying your identity to like, I am this person with this. Mm-hmm. I am the real estate YouTuber, and I have this rental properties, and I do this and that. And you, all of a sudden your happiness is dependent on all these different things. Mm-hmm. And it becomes this like house of cards where if one of them falls down, they all collapse, and then you lose yourself as a person because you're so much just like, my identity, everything I have is tied to all of these things.
Yeah.
Deep shit.
Yeah.
Deep shit. Who knew we were going to go there today?
It is deep, but I actually agree. You shouldn't tie your happiness to anything that's not tangible.
Yeah.
That's something that you don't have any control of. And I also agree with the fact that you do probably become like accustomed to it. I know that, $10,000 a month a couple months ago for me would be like, that's crazy. But if I got $10,000 a month now, I would feel like this has been a terrible month. So I don't know, like maybe you do get used to it, but at the same time, like you always have to take a step out of your brain. Like I feel like people don't do this enough. You always have to take a step out of your body and look at yourself from a third person and say, you are still making, like you're still doing something that's greater.
The problem with that, and this is why it's so difficult, is because when you're making that amount of money, you associate with other people that make that same amount of money.
Okay.
And that is your new, I forget the term, but there is definitely a term for it, where at a certain level, you see other people at that same level, and that becomes your normal. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to break out of that. It's like comparing yourself, let's say you're working $10 an hour at McDonald's and thinking, you know what? I mean, this is probably a healthy way of looking at it, that there are people in third world countries that make $10 in a month and I'm making that in an hour.
Yeah.
But for you, you're working with other people who are making $10 an hour.
Right.
You go and see other people who are making more than that and you wish, if only I had that. And then, let's say you had the salary job, $60,000 a year. You see other people making $60,000 a year. You don't compare yourself to the person at McDonald's making $10 an hour, and you don't compare yourself with the people who are in third world countries. You compare yourself with those who are around you. Just as you make $1 million a year, you're with other people who make $1 million a year. It's one of these crazy things. Like again, if you told me at 18 that you would be making like $65,000 a month in real estate, I would just be, what the? I'll be like, give me 1 month of that. If you give me 1 month of that a year, that's it. Like that, I would like that would be it. Yeah. But now it just becomes the okay, now that's what I'm accustomed to. That's what's normal. And then all of a sudden you're around and hanging out with other people who are making $60,000 a month. And then again, because that's all you see. Now the good news on that is because you're seeing all these other people, you're getting the influence and you're realizing and you make the connections and you see what other people are doing, and then you can continue growing from that. But in terms of just that's great from a business perspective, but from like a happiness perspective, I've personally noticed I haven't gotten any happier. Like the happiest that I've been, I think, is really just when you put it all in perspective and you realize that it's not tied to anything. It's really doing what you love doing. And if you can help people at the same time, I think that's even all the better. And I think that just helps give you purpose and fulfillment. But I think it's really just so much as a state of mind versus making a ton of money. And what else is it? There's a study that was done, anything over 75 grand, your happiness doesn't really it kind of plateaus at that level. Personally, I feel like it's probably more around 150. But I
That's
can't imagine.
because you live in California.
In California, yeah. Anywhere else in the world, I'm sure it's 75 grand. But in California, we're doing 150.
Yeah. So does it plateau? Basically, is what you're asking. Does you get happier and happier, and then at some point it just stops? I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to try to give or say something that I don't know because I am relatively new. It hasn't even been a year. But I think that making more money has made me happier because I'm able to do things on a greater scale that make me happier. So I liked helping people when I didn't have anything. But I could help 1-2 people when I didn't have anything. And now, obviously with money comes power. I can do bigger things and I can help 50 people or 100 people. So that's not going to be the case for everyone. I think that's actually an extreme case. And I think that it won't be like that for most people. But for me, it has consistently made me happier, but it could stop. It could not. I don't know. I honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember when I made my first sale on real estate, I think the commission at that time was 40 grand, and I had just turned 19 years old. My first deal in real estate, $40,000.
$40,000 check.
Yeah, that was more money than I had ever seen in my life.
Right.
That was more money than my parents had probably ever had in their bank account at one time before. I remember. I mean, that was just holy. I was on cloud 9, and I hate to say it now, but if I get a $40,000 check now, it makes no difference whatsoever. It's I don't get me wrong. I like it. Yeah. But it doesn't lead to any different in terms of quality of life or anything like that. Yeah. It's nice, but it's not something that for 40 grand, I'd probably go out to dinner. I mean, that would probably be the extent of it.
So, okay, how about this? What if you were to just run into a celebrity and you sold their house and you got a check for $2 million?
Totally.
What would you do? Would you just watch Netflix or?
No, oh my god, no. What I would realistically do for $2 million, I would probably put 50% down on probably an apartment building and just pretend like that money never even existed. It's
Really?
probably what I do.
But okay, so would it make you like, woo? Or...
Oh yeah, no, 100% it would. 100% it would.
So yeah,
100%. But then when you do that, you realize like then you need the another one of those.
Yeah,
because
that's
then if
true.
you do anything under $2 million in commission,
yeah.
then it's just like not a big deal. And I've had that happen before. And one of the biggest things I see with new agents, their first deal, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. Their first deal will be like a $5 million deal, and they'll make like 120 grand. Their first deal.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen all the time. What ends up happening is that they don't want to waste their time on anything under that.
Yeah,
because
that's
now that's their
foolish.
new threshold.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so many times.
I know what you mean.
It's just like, why would I bother with this $1 million house when I can just wait and do like a $7 million house and make another 100 grand?
Yeah. No,
So
I
that's
see
what
that. I see
happens.
that often too, man. And it's
This has honestly been like probably one of the deepest talks I think I've had on the YouTubes so far in terms of like stuff like this. I think is really important because a lot of people don't think about it. They just think about the money.
Yeah.
They want this, but they don't really think about the bigger picture of it all. So, I mean, these are just our thoughts, and it's coming from two entirely different perspectives. And the thing is, like, these are just my opinions. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. It's just
I mean, it's all subjective. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
100%.
all based on your life, where you grew up, your brain. So,
Of
but
course.
I think we just scratched the surface, man.
Oh,
I could get
yeah.
a lot deeper, maybe.
You know what? I think it would be cool. I've been saying this now for like 2 months. I want to start a podcast. I gotta start a pod because like
Let's
topics
do
like
it.
this would be cool to go and like just like have a podcast and
Yeah,
just
people could
ramble.
just listen to
yeah,
it.
yeah,
and
and just ramble,
understand.
and that way we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about making it too just like it's got to have the best content because people are watching it. You can
on YouTube. Yeah.
ramble like this,
Just
and
talk.
people listen. So. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to link Sebastian's information. If you've watched this also all the way through and you haven't subscribed to me, because my analytics tell me that nearly 50% of you watching are not subscribed,
Subscribe.
you gotta subscribe.
Subscribe to
You
Graham.
gotta subscribe, or at least if you're like, I'm not gonna subscribe to Graham, at least smash the like button.
At least smash it. Graham
Smash
is
it.
the reason that I am where I am. Just do
Just
it.
do it for not only me, but for Sebastian too. And for all of the other people who wonder about money and stuff like that, at least smash the like button for them. Also, feel free to add me on Snapchat or Instagram. Probably Instagram's a little bit better now. Snapchat just like killed itself. Thank you again for watching, guys, by the way. Really appreciate it. And until next time.